All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Priscilla Steffen here with Crystal Lakshmi, right? And Michael, how would I say your last name, Michael?
Didn't.
That's what I thought. Yeah. So Crystal and Michael were in the January Leadership Roundtable, and I invited them to come on and share a little bit about their experience. The next Leadership Roundtable, which is all done on Zoom, is Friday, June 25th, and I wanted to give you a taste of what the roundtable can catalyze and amplify in 4 short hours and then a follow-up call afterwards. So welcome, guys. Thank you so much for being here. Crystal and Michael, why don't you just spend maybe a minute and just say a little bit about the work that you do? Obviously, you're husband and wife, which was an honor I never had a couple do any of my work before. Yeah. So how about you start, Crystal, and just tell people a little bit about what you do in your work.
Yeah, so I have been coach for over 20 years. I started with like angel therapy, then I turned into like aura and intuitive life coach work. Then I was doing like tantra workshops and also helping people to release, body, mind, spirit patterns. Then I developed my own water modality, and the last 10 years have been really focused also on like online business and online coaching with like abundance and as well inner family archetypes. And on top of all of that, I've also been a spiritual adventure retreat facilitator in Hawaii, Mexico, Estonia, Norway, and other places. So it has been a full-on journey, 30 countries, and within those journeys, I bumped into this guy here.
Yeah, a pretty special guy. Great. And Michael, why don't you share a little bit about your work?
My primary background is real estate and real estate investments, and I've been a licensed agent in the state of California since 1997, and doing investments since 97. In fact, I got into real estate helping other people after becoming a real estate investor, and took a little break. In 2007, I had acquired a number of properties and had a collection of companies and everything else, and sold everything, jumped on my boat and disappeared for about 10 years, which was where Crystal and I met, was down in Mexico. And when we started our life journey together, we created a company called Infinite Activation, which is a personal growth, personal development company. Crystal does a lot of coaching through that, but she also does her own work out of her company in Estonia. And I also do my real estate investments. In fact, it was unique timing for the roundtable that we had with you, because there was a little bit of a sometimes you say it's like a defining fork in the road or what have you, but to me it was like a little bit of a speed bump that I needed to get over, and actually through the roundtable it was helpful in getting past that into where we're at today. And as we just mentioned too, that road has been very fruitful lately, and has turned into us acquiring a big real estate asset in Texas, which is also creating a future move for us as of next month. So a lot has gone on since the first of the year.
Yeah, absolutely. So Crystal, why don't you share with me, I think you'd heard me on Rebecca Massoud's podcast, right? Wasn't that how it was, as your coach? And so what was it when you either heard me on her podcast or you learned about the roundtable? What was it that kind of was that, like, I think this is a gift, right, for you and Michael. So why don't you just kind of share a little bit about what was it that kind of sparked your interest, and how you gave this as a present. That was really cool.
Yeah. So I was actually doing research about Rebecca Massoud, who was coming to our podcast, Abundance in Action. So, and one of the videos which I found was when she actually came to your roundtable, and how it changed, her life and her business and so on. So I thought, like, wow, that's like really cool. And many of the things you said there, and also the way she, shared like what had happened and how like new things were kind of like surfacing and so on, and many things, how they shifted. And it seemed like there was like also that power of the group, being present, which really helped you probably also catalyze some of the things much more clearly, in comparison to when you do it like one-to-one, like with the coach and so on. And for me, group facilitation and stuff has always been so exciting because there's dynamics and there are like deeper things which can pop up, and you never know like what kind of connection you have had with those people, because sometimes it's also like we come together from some other lifetime where we were sitting around a fire and we were like supporting each other, or who knows, maybe we were stabbing each other with a knife or whatever. So, kind of like there's so much like mystery and depth in it. And I've always been like a mermaid who wants to go deep and like kind of go to the dark places and find treasures from there. So I felt that like inner deep, like kind of, spirit calling, like there is something here. And then I felt instantly that, as Michael really needed like a little like outside impulse. I'm a coach, I can tell like many things, but as it is, sometimes when you live so close together, you're not really like kind of listening or like really fully like kind of taking action on, whatever someone closest says to you. So it's like, okay, I need to find some other loudspeaker who would say maybe the same thing or like package it in different ways, but then maybe it will like kind of like, boost that energy of action in a different direction. And then I thought like, the best way to get the man to anything like self-development, wherever the man is actually to gift it to them. So that Christmas, Michael got this roundtable gift, and then you also got the Wild Fit. So So you got like two things, and that's like, I also think it's a new time man who is working holistically with their like kind of looking inside and how can I take better care of my body, but also mind and spirit. So, and then I thought also like going there together, that would be really cool because, we are individuals, but we are also together. So that would also probably give some other impulses and some other insights for both of us. So, and that was a really good choice because all of these things which I was expecting happened, and even so much more. So
it's great. Thank you. So if you had to encapsulate in just a few sentences, maybe what your goals were or what you wanted to get out of the roundtable, whether it was like Michael was saying, was it a speed bump or a challenge or something, or that you wanted to overcome, and what was your hope that you would have gotten from the roundtable?
I was looking for a little bit of clarity because I knew what I wanted. I just wasn't certain of the path that I needed to take to get there. And in any type of roundtable, you have more than one opinion. And I'll say this at this point too. One-on-one coach is great because you get that personal, intimate attention. Groups are great because you have the opinions and input from other people. The thing I really liked about your roundtable is you had both of those because you had the group, but it was still small enough that it was very intimate. So, with the group setting and the consulting or coaching on your behalf as well, it opened up some different dialogues and thought processes. And that came to the conclusion, which you and I talked about at the end, about maybe an avenue to pursue to get there. And even though at that time, I'll be honest with you, it wasn't exactly what I had wanted. It's what allowed me or helped me open up to other things that were within that realm. And it wasn't that what you had suggested wasn't within that realm, but it just wasn't exactly what I was wanting. But it did exactly what it needed to do, which was expand my mind to the point that I searched outside of that, and that's where I found it.
And it gave you the direction.
It gave me the direction.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that made any sense.
Yes. It's up to you. Do you want to give people a sense of a little bit more of what that means in terms of where you were considering, or it's up to you?
Yeah, I have no problem with it. So in short, your guidance was because of my passion for real estate and real estate investment, and I was trying to get more involved in it and kind of shed the day job, you might say, and I think I used it then because I use it all the time. Oprah has this saying, do what you have to until you can do what you love to. And I was kind of at that teetering point where I really wanted to shed the day job, what I had to, so I can do more of it, what I wanted to. And through the mastermind, one of the conclusions that was drawn was to become more of a coach in an environment where I would go in and be, the teacher or coach for other real estate agents or, real estate companies and institutions. And I wanted to be a coach, but it wasn't necessarily the way I wanted to be a coach. So even though it wasn't the direct path, what it did was allowed me to think about, okay, this is what I want to do, but not necessarily this way. What do I need to do in order to be the coach, but not be the coach at a real estate company? And so I started to reach out to the network that I had started to grow. And within that network, that social environment that I had already started to nurture, I talked to one of my mentors and we had a conversation about it. And then one of my other mentors and coaches, it just so happened that he was scaling and he needed a coach for a new program that he was doing. So even though it was on a minor scale, it was in the right direction. And then the growth through that, it wasn't immediate, but shortly thereafter, my Freedom Day came in May 5th, where I was able to shed that contract work that I was doing and do not only the coaching full time, but it turns out that this coach and mentor is now one of my business partners. We just bought a 98 unit complex in Texas. We've made offers on other properties. We have students, we have clients, we have challenges. We have investors, not only in the United States, but out of Canada, and these projects and programs that we're doing. So, I mean, it just, that one little seed, even though it wasn't exactly the path, I knew it was within that realm. And it, like I said, it opened my mind and it allowed me to look at what other things were going to be possible and start to pursue those things. And here we are today.
That's amazing. Yeah, when I got Crystal's Facebook message, I don't know if it was a few weeks after the roundtable, because the roundtable was, I think, end of January. I was like, holy cow, I can't believe you guys are moving and shaking. It's really exciting.
Yeah, it has been.
Yeah. And in my case, I had been working with my Inner Family Archetypes coaching program for 5 years, and mostly in Estonian. So I was starting to contemplate ideas, how to, package it better and how to get it out there, where I could start. And I had some vague ideas, but that definitely got me more clarity. And as after the roundtable, things started to kind of unfold themselves. So many things, kind of the same way. I was kind of going around it, and then so many other things were actually kind of, coming to the surface and coming out of it. And it created actually a completely new direction, which I didn't even expect. And that came from my spirit kind of giving me the message that, Crystal, in order to do and scale the way you want to, maybe you also need a tribe or a system which has a very strong infrastructure. Because if you would start to do even the inner family thing right now alone, then you wouldn't have that. You wouldn't have the support. You wouldn't have the network. And then it would take you so much longer. So even though it may seem right now that you're going to, kind of additional path or away from the main kind of path, it's actually not like that. It's actually helping this one here even more, because you will get all the tools and support and so on, and it will help you to be much more effective, and as you say also, work smarter and have more fun. So
yeah, and it truly is supporting her life purpose and life mission.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very proud of her, because she's going to be a certified coach in this new program, and she's got her newest launch coming up. And the levels of success she's reaching in, reaching people and getting out there, they've been phenomenal. And she's been really, really working hard at it. I'm real proud of her.
Yeah, just yesterday I had a free masterclass in Estonian, and I was, of course, doing all kinds of promotion to it. And I was surprised. I had 90 people signed up, and very many of them also showed up live. And only 24 hours later, I had 4 more people signing up for, the WildFit 90-day challenge, which happens in July. And it's like a 3 months, course. Yeah. So it's like amazing that just like one little video, like because it was done so smartly and collaborative way with others as well, people saw it, and many of them actually took contact with me and said also, oh my God, Crystal, you're shining, and the energy and the emotions, I like resonated with you, and everyone who talked there wasn't just like this blah, 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 rational stuff, like you get this and that. I really resonated with every person who was there, like brilliant. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Congratulations. How would you describe, given the positive shifts, both inner and outer, that both of you have experienced, and this question is for both of you, how would you say that you feel? Do you feel differently today than you did a few months ago? And how would you describe, if so, how would you describe that shift?
Yes.
Can I say, because I see you from the side?
Yeah.
I feel like Michael has been completely like turned on, like it's a lighthouse, and there is like light beaming out of the eyes because he's just so passionate about like real estate investing. And, to see that the man is in his power and connected with it. Oh my God, it's so powerful. Energy is like everywhere. And then, of course, with that power, there is also much more flow, and people will also feel more attracted to it. So, and then, of course, on top of everything, it's very sexy.
Yes, there's always that. Passion is sexy indeed.
Well, and that feeling, I'm glad that it comes out that way, because I truly feel that way, and I am truly passionate about it. In the way that I do my real estate investments, I'm able to build a network providing for our investors and my partners that is, everybody feels so good about what we're doing, and we have such good programs to bring these opportunities to our investors that a lot of people want to be a part of it. In October, when I first joined another mastermind program, which was at the beginning of October, by the end of October, I had written an offer on my first 39-unit complex. And within one weekend, because it was the complex, because of my enthusiasm and excitement, because of the way we did the program and everything else, I had raised $300,000 from investors over one weekend. And even though we didn't get that project, and there was a lot of hit and misses in between, when we got this bigger project, because of that, the next one, this 98 unit, we needed to raise 1.5 million. And my partner and I, within 10 days, raised all the seed money that we needed to for this project. And it just comes from that passion and that excitement, and doing our due diligence and finding the right properties and making sure that this is going to be a win-win-win for everybody. So it's definitely helped with how I am today. So.
And also because Michael is such a people person, that other project, or which we actually are now finalizing the closing, came because that real estate agent was connected to that and basically gave you this project like before it got into the market.
Yeah, the power of networking. The deal that I missed in October, I became basically acquaintance with because of the way we communicated during that transaction. When we lost that deal, he actually told me that the people that were awarded that contract kind of came out of nowhere. And to me, when somebody says that, it's just like they have it's just like they don't know about it. So I gave them 2 weeks, and after 2 weeks, I reached back out and I just checked in. I said, hey, I want to make sure everything's going okay, because you said these guys came out of nowhere and you didn't know anything about them. If it's going great, congratulations. If not, don't forget, we're still here. And he said, no, as a matter of fact, it's turning out okay. And then through that networking, I'd stayed in touch with him about, he's part of a bigger company. And we talked about other properties that came available, and none of which had actually met our needs because of the way we go through this. But he had me at the top of his mind When a listing came up that was off market, going on market in 2 to 3 weeks, he brought it to my attention before it went out to anywhere else, and it was a great opportunity, so we jumped all over it. We didn't allow it to get to market.
Yeah. And in my case also, I would say that because now I have found another opportunity and also expression of my life mission in a way, it feels basically that everything else I've been kind of experiencing or doing before comes together here, because I also started to think, like, as a coach, like, you know, when is it like people have gone through my programs and then they have got stuck again? And then I realized it's when their bodies are out of alignment, you know. And you, Priscilla, you know it because you have been working as a health coach yourself. So I was like, wow, this is a really nice additional complementary part of my coaching, offerings. And then as going through it twice, once also with Michael, I realized, like, wow, this will be really amazing. And once I started to jump into it, I can see, like, oh my God, this will be a total reset and building a new foundation. So many people, they don't take care of their body and they start to like build all these like different things, and it will all like scramble together because the foundation is not there. So how can I help now, you know, people to get that foundation all like detoxified and reset, and then build things on a very solid ground, you know. So that way also I could say, like, I'm much more passionate. My fire is still, you know, again, like turned on. So, and then, you know, people even said after yesterday's class is like, oh my God, Crystal, you're like a fireball. Like, how do you have so much energy?
I love that. I'm going to write it like just turned on, you know, it's tapped in and turned on. I think that's what Abraham Hicks says, right? Being tapped in and turned on, and you guys are both that. So just to wrap up here, if you had, I know, so the roundtable has up to 6 people at a time. They're all entrepreneurs looking to identify that next step in their business in alignment with their gifts, with their natural leadership style, which is really their soul fluent leadership archetype. And to get the benefit of the feedback from a group in real time, as well as getting some soul guidance. And then there's a 1-hour call with me afterwards, just to kind of debrief, let things integrate and all of that. So if you had any suggestions or any insights, if someone is on the fence or considering joining a roundtable, whether it be this one or a future one, what would you say would be what would you say to them?
Well, I personally believe that the minute you stop growing and stop learning, we're done. So, you know, as long as, and most entrepreneurs have that mindset, nobody wants to become complacent because, you know, stagnant is not good. So if you have the mindset that you want to continue to grow and continue to learn, whether you're at the speed bump, whether you're at wanting to level up, whether you're at just new initiatives, new ideas, what have you, the nice thing about the roundtable is the fact that you can come into this supported group, but you do exactly what a roundtable is. You basically bounce ideas off each other. You talk about these things. You got a great facilitator and coach and leader that is spearheading this whole thing. You've got people with different diversity and different backgrounds that may say something that just sets, you know, this trigger that goes, aha. It may be just something that creates or stimulates an idea that grows and evolves into something else. You can always take something away from anything if you allow yourself to be open to it. And with this controlled environment, with other entrepreneurs and with a facilitator like yourself, you know, anybody that wants to, you know, evolve, grow, get past something, you know, level up, this is a great opportunity to do that.
Yeah, and I would say also with your allowance, you know, I tested this like setup with a little differently, you know, like content and stuff with Estonians. So in March, I kind of like grew it out. This like, okay, let's see how this like kind of setup would work. And I had 3 people who joined in, and they were like over the moon, as we were, you know, the collaboration with the group, and that also like people were giving you some ideas and insights, and also some of the things which you are not able to see yourself will come out, because someone from a different angle or with different background can start to see something different. And they were also all over the moon. And I was also surprised that, I was able to do it, that it came out so well. And in your case, you have so much experience. You did such a good job with moderation and facilitation, and everyone got their spot. Even being on the hot seat didn't feel that hot. You felt really safe. And
I like that.
And also, tapping into Akashic records. Like you give a little bit of your input in there as well, and it's all the invisible stuff, and you kind of like put subtitles underneath it. And yeah, it doesn't matter like if you are a person from a corporate world or like you're a healer, intuitive coach, whatever. I think there is so many like golden treasures there. It's just to come with an open mind. And I mean, we are proof. Like I actually even like made a list of all the things and benefits which have come after that. And it's like, I think like 15 different like projects and business stuff and big launches and stuff I've learned, and the numbers which have been going up even with like, podcast downloads and so on. The growth has been like, so much more, because there is also more energy and more confidence. And once you have more energy and confidence, then, even the sky is not the limit. So it would be a waste if people don't jump on. So we really encourage it, especially as, with a friend or family member, or even, with your partner. It has been such a nice way for us to reflect the experience, and then also like, okay, what can we now, go forward with? So we really recommend it as such as well.
Thank you. And it's a testament to both of you. Neither of you really knew me. And Michael, you went on, the gift from your wife, and you both came so open and really showed up fully and soaked in what was there, and, took what was beneficial, and really allowed that to inform your next steps in a beautiful way. I love seeing you guys glowing and happy, and I guess moving to Texas, is that what's going to happen? Wow. And a move too, huh? Wow.
Yeah, and the next step after that will be actually Florida, but we'll do a little transition. And next summer, probably also a little longer time in Estonia, because we will jump over Estonia this summer. So always on the move.
I know. I love that. Well, thank you so much for spending your time here with us. And if people want to find out a little bit more about you, is there a website that they can go to?
Yep.
Yeah, we have infiniteactivation.com. And if you put Infinite Activation to social media as a, username, it will pop up like our Facebook, and we are also on LinkedIn and YouTube. And then also we have our podcast, Abundance in Action, where you, Priscilla, will be a guest also. So people can check it out. And there's lots of amazing people there also who we have interviewed. Many of our actually friends or partners or business partners, amazing stories of people who are like inspired. So there is so much to watch and go through. So
yeah, and if anybody wants to talk, and you and I talked about this, anybody wants to talk about real estate or real estate investments, basically if they just Google either Crystal's name or my name, we will pop up. We do have a presence there, and we can be contacted, and we can set up a time to do a little power chat with anybody.
Yeah, and I was just thinking the other day, like you working with real estate, and I work now with the bodies, which is our real estate too, like the inner real estate. So you want to work with your body, then
this real estate or this real estate.
Yeah.
So.
I know. I love that. That's a really good way of looking at it, and bringing so much richness of life experience and training, and so much that you guys bring to the table in whatever you do. So thank you so much. And guys, if you're looking to join the June or a future roundtable, you can go to priscillastefan.com/roundtable, or just message me privately. And so thank you so much, you guys, both, for your time. I so appreciate it, and congratulations on everything. It's so amazing to see.
Thank you too.
Right.
Really nice.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.